attention today. China confirms to the big chaos in the South China Sea. The risk of a nuclear submarine collision in the South China Sea increases as the PLA and U.S. Navy's increase deployments in the contested waters, a Chinese researcher has warned. Wu Shikun, president of the National Institute for South China Sea Studies, said the AUKUS deal could add to that risk, even though Australia's nuclear submarine fleet, a key part of the pact with the US and UK, is decades away. Speaking at an international relations forum in Beijing on Wednesday, Wu also said current crisis management mechanisms may not be effective at critical times. He was referring to a non-binding document signed by China and the US in 2014 on the rules of conduct for air and sea encounters. Wu recalls a near miss in 2018, when a Chinese Luyang-class destroyer sailed just 41 meters, 134 feet, from the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Decatur, and they nearly collided on Gaven Reef in the South China Sea. Sailing within 41 meters is very dangerous. It's not that we don't have rules, but that they are not followed at critical times. Herein lies the risk, Wu said at a forum organized by the Institute. If the same scenario happened to two nuclear submarines, it would be catastrophic. The risk is imminent, Wu said, because China and the US are both developing nuclear submarines and sending them into the South China Sea. A deal to build an Australian fleet, aided by the US and UK, could result in more advanced naval vessels in waters highly contested by China and Southeast Asian nations, some of which are US allies. The number of nuclear submarines in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait will increase. The South China Sea Investigation Initiative, a Beijing-based think tank, said earlier that the U.S. had deployed B-52H and B-1B bombers in the disputed waters 14 times this year, along with 11 nuclear submarines including the USS Connecticut, damaged in last month's incident. A new Pentagon report released on Thursday said China's Navy had 355 ships and submarines in 2020. It said the Chinese Navy had placed a high priority on modernizing its submarine force, operating 6 nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, 6 nuclear-powered attack submarines, and 46 diesel-powered attack submarines. The PLA Navy is expected to operate the Type 094 and Type 096 SSBNs simultaneously and could have up to 8 SSBNs by 2030, the report said. Establishing a risk control mechanism with the United States is urgent. Conflicts in the military and security fields are very different from conflicts in the economic and trade fields, Wu said. China and the US both have nuclear powers. The frequent sea and air activities that coincide with the deployment of Chinese and US militaries will create more risk of conflict if there are no control mechanisms in place. A US military deployment in the Taiwan Strait would also pose a risk in the South China Sea, as US ships pass through the Taiwan Strait before entering the disputed waters, Wu added. China and Southeast Asian countries are discussing a code of conduct in the South China Sea, which Wu said made progress with 19 rounds of high-level negotiations and 32 rounds of working-level talks so far. There is cooperation between the Chinese and US militaries, but other steps to build trust between the two powers are lacking, Wu added. China will definitely try to maintain its maritime strategic advantage after the AUKUS alliance, and an arms race is expected.